Manchester United stunned Villa. Salah scored again. And Arsenal ended the season with somewhat of a bang. But the stats tell a deeper story, as always. Let's dive into the numbers behind the final Premier League weekend. I'm Wayne and welcome to Goals by the Numbers. Let's kick it off. So our first match, Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 0. In a match where I think most of us would have assumed that Aston Villa would have won and won comfortably, Manchester United were actually, dare I say, good. I'm not sure what's worse. The fact that they were able to play so well for a period in the last match of the season, or the fact that they've been bad most of the season. Manchester United had 4 shots on target within the first 10 minutes of the first half. In fact, in the first half in total, they had 9 shots compared to the 1 Aston Villa had. Emi Martinez was sent off before the end of the first half. He cleaned out Højlund. To say he cleaned him out, it was something that wouldn't be amiss watching 2 10-year-olds run into each other. Højlund had run clean through due to a bad Matty Cash back pass, and Martinez was given a straight red. It wasn't even a tackle. It was just, I don't know how to describe it. And when he stood up, he looked confused if he didn't know what happened. So despite the number of changes, most of the possession and attacking impetus, despite the number of chances, most of the possession and the attacking impetus, it was still 0-0 for it to end in the first half. In the second half, United were not as slick as they were in the first half, but they continued to rack up the shots until Villa had a goal disallowed in the 72nd minute when Bayindir didn't have full control of the ball and Ramsey knocked it out of his grasp. Now, as I understand the rule, the keeper has to have a hand on the ball and be holding against his body, or have his hand on top of the ball in the manner to control it, or have both his hands on the ball. And Bayindir didn't really have either. So with VAR, it would have been cleaned up. But I think the fact that the referee blew the whistle before the ball got into the goal meant that VAR couldn't be used. So I guess there are pros and cons of VAR. Going ahead at that point of the match would have galvanized Aston Villa surely, man down, about 20 minutes to go, half an hour to go, and given them a reason to dig in. But 3 minutes later, Manchester United went ahead with a header from Ahmed, and Bruno Fernandes's first and only assist of the match. United continued to push, and in the 86th minute, Matson caught Ahmed with a clumsy challenge at the edge of the box, and Eriksson took the penalty instead of Fernandes and scored to wrap up the game. So, the numbers. Manchester United had 67% possession. Aston Villa made less clearances than Manchester United, so 21 against 24. Fernandes and Casemiro had the most touches, both over 100, more than any other player on the pitch. And it was Aston Villa's first defeat in 4 matches. So our next match, Liverpool won, Crystal Palace won. So the champions playing the FA Cup winners at Anfield in what is actually a preview of the Charity Shield match, which should be on the 2nd of August, I think. Liverpool they've been awesome at some points this season. And Crystal Palace, after a poor start, had a strong middle and end to the season, winning their first trophy, that being the FA Cup. Salah scored for Palace after 9 minutes, and while the away fans would have dreamed of a win at Anfield, the expected Liverpool onslaught didn't really come until the second half. The first half ended with Crystal Palace having 3 shots and Liverpool having 4. Henderson also pulled off a really good save from a Jota chance, and Mateta hit the woodwork. Second half, Liverpool came out, all guns blazing, as they do, and with their last attempt at goal, you can guess who, because he is inevitable, and it's been that kind of season for him. Salah equalised. A really good cross from Jota was headed down by Gakpo, so down and back across into the middle of the goal. And Salah, I guess, ghosted in and put the ball home with kind of like a scissor kick motion. Gravenberch was also sent off in the match for a second yellow card. As the last man, as the last man in the Liverpool defence, he completely took out a Crystal Palace player after miscontrolling the ball near the halfway line, and it was his second yellow. Yeah, despite having a man less, Liverpool still pushed and scored. Can you imagine? So the numbers: Crystal Palace are unbeaten in 8 matches, no competitions. Van Dijk, in the same vein as Casemiro and Fernandes, he had 120 touches of the ball. He also completed 110 passes. He completed 91.8% of them and made 19 passes into the final third of the pitch for Liverpool, the most of his team. Sar's goal for Crystal Palace was the 8th of this season in the Premier League for him. And Justin Devaney, who only played 30 minutes, won 3 tackles, the most of the entire team. So, our last match, Southampton 1, Arsenal 2. Southampton announced they would be getting a new manager, and there would have been hope that would have been a bit of a shot in the arm for the team before kickoff. Sigawara took a shot from distance, which took a wicked deflection. Immediately started flagging the referee as the ball hit Declan Rice, but a penalty wasn't forthcoming. Southampton seemed to lose a little bit of momentum after that, and Arsenal eventually broke the deadlock when Martinelli and Ben White combined down Arsenal's right, and a cross came in, which was swept in by Kieran Tierney, which I believe this match was his last for the club before he leaves. In the second half, Ross Stewart scored a backwards header, which reminded me of something Chicharito Hernandez did for Manchester United many moons ago, by literally just heading the ball backwards, and the header looped over Raya. So you can imagine equalising against Arsenal at home, last game of the season, maybe an upset's on the cards? No. Martin Ødegaard came on as a substitute. He stepped past Will Smallbone with relative ease and scored a shot from 20 yards. Ramsdale in the Southampton goal, to say he was angry would be an understatement. He was furious, he was livid. But with Southampton changing manager, maybe we should do a video on Will Still. I mean, his name alone is interesting, so we'll have to have a think about that. So the numbers. Arsenal had 23 shots, with Martinelli and Zinchenko having 4 each. Arsenal made 43 shot creating actions. I had to double take because I did wonder if that was the correct number. Southampton made 36 clearances. And over the entire season, both teams with a pass completion rate of 83%. Something which I think is going to stand Southampton in really good stead when they play the Championship next season. So, talking about next season, which teams have qualified for Europe? So, Liverpool won the league. And then on a side note, Salah scored the most goals, 29, and got the most assists, 18. Liverpool are not a one-man team, but they are very much a team. And even though Salah is, I guess, effectively the sharp end of the blade, there are other players who could play in the system and effectively still get results. So I don't think at this point losing Salah for any period of time would really dramatically drag Liverpool down the league. And by dragging them down the league, I couldn't imagine them ending up in 15th if they didn't have Salah for half the season. Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea, Manchester City, and Tottenham all qualify for the Champions League along with Liverpool. Aston Villa and Crystal Palace qualify for the Europa League, and Nottingham Forest qualify for the Europa Conference League, a competition which or competition where the final is being contested by Chelsea and Real Betis next week, Wednesday, or this week, Wednesday, I believe. So, yeah. So, the Premier League season is over. There will still be videos between now and the start of next season, but we're all going to need to find something new to watch for the next few months. I'm thinking the Formula One, but there aren't as many Formula One races as there are football matches, so it's going to be quite difficult. But get your comments in below. Let's discuss this season, and I'll catch you later.